name is Ed Moy. I served as the director of the United States Mint from 2006 to 2011. What was really interesting about that period was that that's when the financial crisis hit and then the Great Recession, and that caused record sales in our precious metal bullion. Currently, my practice involves being on the boards of directors of several privately held companies and some publicly held companies. I've also focused on developing the cryptocurrency and blockchain space.
Here, my name is Maciej. I'm a managing director at Desjardins Capital Markets, focused on the metals and mining space. I have a background at various Canadian and global banks, always focused on the metals and mining sector, with a bias towards advisory and capital raisings. Desjardins is a leading Canadian financial institution, about $400 billion in assets, over 50,000 employees. A very unique institution of its size, given it's not set up as a bank, but rather as a co-op. So, we have, let's say, a heightened degree of respect for the capital that is deployed at the bank. We scrutinize all of our involvement and the way that we deploy that capital, and how we choose to participate in the capital markets and the groups we choose to back. So
yeah, so I think one area that a lot of people are trying to figure out now is that with all that's going on in the world, that should be pushing up both gold and silver prices, they've remained trading relatively at a very stable level. So most people have concluded that there's been, even though there's been a lot of demand for gold investment products and silver investment products, there's still a large supply of both gold and silver due to lower industrial demand, although that's been increasing because of the recovering economies. So when you take a look at what I did, which was run a government mint and the largest producer of precious metal bullion in the world, sales have been very strong. For example, the United States Mint first quarter of 2021 had record sales in both its gold and silver. They had 400,000 ounces of gold sold during the first 3 months, and they had 12 million ounces of silver sold in the first 3 months. At that pace, that will exceed what happened during my tenure. So when I first started at the Mint in 2006, the steady state of gold sales annually was about 200,000 ounces. By the time my term ended in 2011, those sales were up to 1.4 million. On silver, it started off with 10 million ounces at steady state in 2006. And when I left in 2011, it was 47 million ounces each year. Gold prices and silver prices did not peak until it was very clear that the economy would be recovering at a very modest pace. And once the uncertainty of the recovery was taken away, that's when gold and silver prices started declining. And so,
yeah, thank you. It's such an interesting question. I mean, I think two perspectives. I mean, one, from a capital markets participant perspective, looking at how people choose to deploy their capital, let's say for participation of potential upside in both gold and silver, so investing in equities, and I'll park that because I think that's a bit of a subset of a discussion. Here, you're asking specifically about the price, and as a metals and mining banker, I've spent a lot of time on the precious metal sector and the base metal sector, and I think when I aggregate all that feedback and see what's come back, the demand curve, if we could call it, so forget the supply curve, the demand curve for gold and silver has so many factors associated with it US dollar, there's a physical demand component, sometimes there's an industrial demand component. It's such a large global market and a liquid market that, you know, there are so many factors, including a lot of emotional factors, so people thinking how things should behave, that influence the price. And you know, often you get a head scratcher saying, you know, X happened, why didn't gold or silver react in Y way? So you know, I'm a little more, I mean, I wouldn't be in this business if I didn't believe in the long-term prospects of the underlying metals. It is an ancient industry, so there again, there's a big emotional component attached to it. You know, if I had to you know, point to a trajectory, do I think it's going to be, you know, a upwards biased, flat, or downwards biased? I would say upwards, though I myself hesitate to put a number on anything. That's not my area of expertise necessarily. I know there are many out there who do prognosticate, but I think on balance, in terms of how we see things unfolding today, I do believe that there is an upward pressure and current on the underlying commodities, and we would expect to see them inflate over and above the inflation curve. That would be my personal view.